Okay, we're in the shop today and doing some odds and ends. Got some chains around. Got two 18-inch chains and 132. Rocked the pee out of them. Yesterday, cutting some, just not even rocking them, just cutting in mud. Real dirty firewood I was cutting yesterday, and got to sharpen those. And got one on the 455, one in my bag, and then one on the 372. And figured I'd let you all kind of sit up high here in the shop and watch what I'm doing a little bit and kind of see, get a aerial view of the shop and everything else. Hopefully my camera don't fall over, but go and take one here off the 455 and really like this saw. It's a good saw. Bought it, let's see, it's a 2000. It is a 2000, I think it's a 2014. Yeah, 2014. I bought it from Bailey's for, let's see, I paid $420 with free shipping. I had the free shipping deal, and I got a baseball cap for free and a free 6-pack of mixing oil of the Woodland Pro mixing oil. And only thing I gotta say I don't like about this saw is this doggone internal clutch on it. Trying to get the chain off is a booger, because you gotta twist it around. There, we got it off. It can be a booger to get off, but other than that, I really like it. I'll check on you all again. Oh yeah. And anyways, I really like it. Other than that, it's been a good saw. 55cc. I talked to, let's see, at the last Oregon logging conference I was at, the 2015. I stopped at the Husqvarna tent, or not the Husqvarna tent, but the Lynn Benton Tractors, the local dealer we have in my area. Stopped and talked to him, and he said that professionals, guys, that 455 wasn't designed as professional use, and everyone was using it as a professional saw. And Husqvarna is selling a lot of them, so it's a good saw, and I love it. And the only thing I wish it had is just like on my 372, that out just real easy clutch, the clutch drum and everything that's built back in the motor. And then I wish it had a magnesium crankcase, and also that you could put some 4-out panel bars on it. But we can't have everything. But no, it's been a really, really good saw. I've been really pleased with it for the money I spent on it and everything else. It's been a really good saw. I've been really pleased with it. I haven't had any issues. The only thing I had it about, I don't know, probably 4 months ago, probably 6 months ago. Not even that, probably longer than that, probably close to a year ago. I came in here and got done cleaning it, started it. It idled fine, and everything. It was, as soon as you hit the throttle though, it would not throttle up. So I went, okay, it's out of gas, because it was acting like it was out of gas, and had full tank of gas, and could not figure it out, and it would not run right. And so I messed with it, let it sit for like 2 weeks because I didn't need it. Used my 372, finally came back and got it, started it up, never did it again. Hasn't done it one time since I've had it. Just, I don't know what it was, a freak thing. Probably what it was is there's something in the carburetor or in the fuel line, or my most thought was that there was something hung up on the fuel filter, is what my thought was. But other than that, I've got those big dogs on it, and I think those were an extra $3 from Bailey's was all. They were $3 for both dogs for the whole set. So it was cheap, and those have been really nice. I really like that. I ordered, see, when I ordered it, I planned on running a 20-inch bar because I had a couple of 20 inches for my 372, and I thought that was funny. I set my angle off. Anyways, I had a couple for my 372, and they don't fit. They said they'd fit, but they don't, which is no big deal. I guess if I cut anything extra big, I'd rather do it with my 372. If I need a 20-inch bar to get through it, I'll just run my 372. But don't get me wrong, I've cut some ginormous Doug fir with that 455. I've cut some 25-inch Doug fir with it, and it pulls it sometimes better than my 372, but I've been real pleased. Like I said, the only thing that's been done to that saw is it's got the big dogs, and then it has I changed from a spur tooth sprocket 7-tooth to the floating rim style. I've just always liked those better. They're easier on your chain. Plus, when they wear out, you don't have to replace the whole drum and everything. And that was, I think, $21 from Bailey's, and you got the drum and the bearing, and then I had to order the sprocket. And it's just a standard small spline sprocket. That's another thing I wish they had, is a small spline 8-tooth sprocket, because if you put an 8-tooth sprocket on that saw, it would run a lot better, because it's got quite a bit of power to it, and I'm thinking about actually going and doing a muffler mod to it, and doing a dual port. I'm not sure yet. I haven't ordered anything. It's an X-Torque, and I've heard mixed results about having muffler mods on X-Torques and everything, and especially on the 455, you don't gain as much. And but I mean, I looked on. That's not real good to do. I looked on, what was it, eBay, or no, it was Bailey's, and if I do the muffler mod and decide that I don't like how it's performing, I can go and order a new. It'd be an NWP. It wouldn't be OEM, because it'd be from Bailey. That's what they sell, is NWP. But it'd be a new muffler. Now I could put the stock muffler back on it, and be fine. And it'd only be $20, and I could probably go and put that on whatever, and find someone who wanted a muffler mod for their 455. But I might do that. I'm kind of holding off right now to buy a pickup before I go and spend a bunch of money on stuff. I had a pickup for a while. My uncle gave me a 2006 F350 Super Duty. Had suicide door, wasn't the big cab, extended cab. Had the 6-liter, and that was where we had some problems. 230,000 miles, and had a check engine light when we got it, and a check engine light, I should say. And it was on, and took it in. They pulled codes, said there was number 4 glow plugs bad. They said you have a clutch or a sensor for your fan that's bad, and then they said you have a cylinder number 6 injector needs to be replaced. price, and took it into another place just to see, because I was told the price I was originally given was a little high, and took it in, and they pulled the injectors, and they said no. They said, I don't know what it is, but they said all the injectors are fine in it. They said you do need a glow plug and a what's it called, sensor for your fan, and they said that'll be $1,000, but they said it has not been bulletproof. For those of you who know about the 6-liter, you know what I'm talking about. It hasn't been bulletproof, and they said the guy said I've never seen a 6-liter diesel engine come in with 230,000 miles and make it that long on that engine without shearing the head bolts or having the EGR cooler or oil cooler or anything go out in it. He said I've never even heard of it. He said usually they always went out, and he said I've never heard of one that hasn't been bulletproof and gone that long. And so we ended up giving it back, because he said it was going to be a money pit. He said you could fix it for $1,000 and it'd probably run for quite a while, but then he said you'd end up having something else go wrong with it. So he said probably not the best truck for you all. If you have jobs and money, it'd be one thing. But so I had that for, I don't know, probably close to a month, and I hauled quite a bit of wood in it and everything else, and then gave it back. So I'm looking for a new pickup to buy. Just been kind of moving everything with my 3-wheeler, my 200 ES, and then my new trailer I just redid, and that works pretty well. I just moved just before I came in here to do this. I got done moving and splitting a half a cord of wood, a little bit over half a cord of wood, so it goes pretty doggone quick. I'm very pleased with my trailer. It won't do. I took a little cord of wood to a guy down the road, and I loaded a cord in it, and that thing was squatted so low. I do a half a cord of wood in it, no problem. I actually took another cord of wood to a guy and just did the half a cord at a time, just down the road, and that worked way better. A cord, without going and cutting the frame out and putting on bigger tires or fenders, you just won't be able to do a cord at a time, which is okay, because I have another utility trailer that's even bigger, that has standard big road legal tires, and also has wired and everything. I'm just going to put a new deck in it and kind of clean it up a little bit, and make that for hauling wood when I get a pickup, and hauling 3-wheelers and everything else as well. Use that one for. You can kind of see in there I got my 185 or 110 down here, excuse me, and that one there, I think probably what I'm going to do is fix it up and probably go ahead and sell it. I don't really need 3. It needs a new muffler, needs the pole star cover rebuilt, new carburetor, just a tune-up, and then it needs a new seat pan and a new seat, and I'll put all that on, and then I want to I'll paint it. I just have a bunch of primer for it, and I won't match the color. I'll just kind of match it as close as I can, because anything but right now will look better, and probably sell it. I just don't really need a third one, and I really want to try to get a either a 450 or a 400 quad, or like a 660 Raptor or something like that. Something pretty big, because I live right at the base of some major roads you can ride on. And so I'd like to get a quad. because all my buddies have them and ride. And that's what 185 does really good, but it's, you know, not like a 450 or anything like that you're gonna ride. And it'd be nice to have one, just to use one, and I'm hoping by maybe next summer I can pick one up or something like that. I really wanted to get one this winter when they're kind of a used one, when they're kind of cheaper in the winter, because in the spring and summer they go up in price. But no, hopefully find one, and because I do like riding around and fishing in the snow. And I live kind of right at the base of a peak up here that gets quite a bit of snow and everything, so it's fun to ride around. These go pretty quick through here. I don't know why it is. I've always been able to sharpen skip tooth chain quicker than a full comp or semi-skip. I don't know why it is. And I know it's, you know, you got less, you know, the spacing's different, but I don't know, I've just always been able to go faster. Just seems like I can grind the tooth a little bit faster on that kind of chain versus full comp, and that one you saw me do previously was a little bit slower, but yeah, I don't know why it's always been. I used to hand file started out as a power saw mechanic, or building them and messing with them. Back in Virginia, I lived for a while, and I was a mechanic for my dad's crew. They ran 3 to 4 saws. I went in usually 5 days a week, and was working on right at 3 to 4 saws a week, and I was, you know, just getting gas and oil and filling the truck up and everything like that, and then working on saws, and I was doing all their chains, everything, so, and I hand filed all the chains, so I learned how to hand file really doggone well. I can at times hand file better than I can grind. I did that for right at about 3 years. Is what I did, and so I got good. I worked just exclusively on 372s. That's what we ran. We had both. We had the 372 XPs, non-X torques when I first started, and there were some older ones. And then we got into the new 372. We had the 372 XPWs, X-Torques, the 75cc's. I worked on quite a few of those. That was all the new saw. We had, I don't know. At one point we had, I think, 3 of them. We had one old, just regular XP non-X-Torque for kind of our landing saw. But those XPWs I liked pretty well. They had a lot of power. The 75cc. These ran really good, and then I worked on some 365s, just kind of dinking with them, and I built a few just so they'd have some extra saws and everything else, and had some 272s. I worked on a couple of 272s, some old, that was from back when they still ran those, and worked on some 272s, not a lot, but some, and then did bar maintenance. I don't know how many bars I had, probably close to 50 bars that I'd work on. We just had a stack. We ran 20-inch bars back there, which was not fun. I don't even get started on that. and we'd go, and I just made sure they all had fresh tips and the rails were dressed. And if one went out, someone would just come in, drop the old one off, pick up a new one, and stick a new one on the saw, or I would. And, so I kept up with those and kept up. We had the shop I worked at had probably close to 100 part saws that had accumulated over the years. And I salvaged parts off of those, I had boxes of covers and selling, the good cylinders. I scrounged all the cylinders and pistons and a lot of the cranks out of them, or the ones I could. I didn't have a crankcase splitter back then, so I couldn't get it. I think I started doing it when I was 11 and ended when I moved back here was at 13, and so I did quite a few. It was squeaking my 372. I don't know what that is. I keep hearing it. But yeah, I did plenty of saws and worked on them, rebuilt a bunch of saws and worked on them. I remember I had a Mexican one time, had the cross thread of the spark plug in the cylinder, blew the spark plug out, blew a hole through the top cover, and scared him to death, and had to go and switch the cylinder out, and always switching carburetors out, and everything. I don't know what that squeak is. We'll run it and see. So yeah, I had plenty of experience doing that and everything else. So, but I liked it. It was a good experience. It taught me to work on other stuff. I learned how to work on three wheelers and dirt bikes and lawnmowers and all that extra stuff, and just kind of learned the basics of an engine from doing that on power saws, and they're easy to learn on, especially two strokes, and then you just kind of pick up on your four strokes and get into some cars and everything like that. So it's good practice, and kind of something there'll always be a demand for as mechanics, especially nowadays. People are fixing, especially in small engines, people are trying to fix more than they are buy, because stuff's so, new engine or saw or whatever is so expensive nowadays. A lot of people are just trying to, rebuild or kind of piece them back together and get as much as they can before they got to buy a new one, which is nice because it gives you kind of a workflow. You can do something, and I do some on the side for different people, but mostly I just do for myself. And at some point I'd like to do like chains for people. I enjoy sharpening chains. I can sit in here and grind chains turn my music on and grind chains for hours upon hours, and on a rainy day, and so I enjoy doing that. And then I enjoy working on stuff, and I kind of amassed a collection of tools and pressure vacuum gauge, crankcase splitter, all these specialty tools and wrenches and everything else you really need to work on stuff. And so, and back dryer. I know one thing that's going to come in here before too long is a new air compressor, 20-gallon or 22-gallon Craftsman air compressor. I'm trading my grandpa my little one for his big one, and so that'll be nice. I can do some more air blowing and then run an impact and everything now, which is nice. And I gotta get a floor jack, and I used to have this all set up, and if you watch any of my kind of older videos, I used to be set up in our big shop, and I got kicked out of there, and so I moved all this in up by my house, and that is not a pretty cutter. That corner is bad. Anyways, that's the life of a firewood cutter right there. You can never keep corners good. Realistically, I should run semi-chisel, but I just can't stand running that slow chain. I mean, that's slow, so slow, and you get into, you know, if you run semi-chisel for a long time, which I have, I've run it before, and then you go into round that's properly maintained, you'll never go back to semi-chisel. And then if you run some square ground, you'll never want to go back to anything, because I'll tell you what, I love square ground. One of these days I'm hoping to get a square chisel chain grinder and do square chisel, because there kind of is a market for that in our area. A lot of timber cutters, and I know we used to have a saw shop that was only about 10 minutes from here, and it closed. The closest saw shop, the good saw shop, is about an hour, close to an hour and a half away from us. So it is a long drive and having to take stuff. So there is a business for chains and for mechanics. You know, all the timber cutting outfits used to take their stuff in, and now they've kind of had to learn how to get their stuff fixed on their own and fix it themselves and everything else. So there is, and then chains, you know, most people do their own chains outfits because they have special grinds and everything else. But there is a market in my area for you know, that kind of small engine mechanic, and there's kind of a lawnmower engine mechanic down in town below me. He doesn't do a lot of saws though, or professional saws. If you're all wondering what I'm doing too here, this is timber cutters, and a lot of people do this. You carry your chains, you carry spare chains, wrap them up in newspaper, tape the ends, and what that does is it keeps your chain from getting all dirty and fouled up. Stick it in your bag, and you'll have those sitting around. That's one chain that doesn't need to be done. But if you ever see what I'm doing there, just wrapping chains up so they don't get all tangled and everything else around here. But that's about all we got for today. Just kind of a longer video, close to half an hour long. But just kind of a video, just talking about some stuff and doing a little bit of work, and gotta go back out and do another half quart of firewood and everything else. So just kind of a different view and everything else. So thanks for watching.